So I started a series last week called Shake the Box. I'm going to say Shake the Box. The concept is when we get around Christmas and there's something under the tree, if you're young and young at heart and you haven't figured out yet that mama and daddy is Santa Claus. Oh, did I? Why? Your kid should be in children's church. If I blew your bubble, sorry. Write me a letter. All right. So like in our house, it was really different. If mama was kissing Santa Claus, there'd be a fight. Because daddy didn't do the whole Santa Claus thing. You follow what I'm saying? Whatever your tradition may have been, here's what I know. Every kid gets an opportunity to hold that present and just holds it. And when you're not around, they shake that box because they're hoping for a clue of what might be in the box. And so this Christmas message can become mundane to us. It becomes common to us. And so in the endeavor this week, and this series, to not lose the specialness of Christmas, I'm hoping we can just shake the box like we did when we were kids to see what's inside. Look at your neighbor and say, shake the box. Shake the box. Today, I want to talk about Christmas dreaming. I'd like to sing to you like Bing Crosby, but it probably wouldn't sound like that when it came out of my throat. Come on, somebody. Thank God for being, shut up, Bernie. Thank God for... Thank God. If you just don't know, you just don't know. Bernie, that was perfectly timed by Bernie right there. I just get it just perfectly. Dreaming of a White Christmas is one of my favorite Christmas songs. I absolutely love that song. Matter of fact, if we think about it, we have a lot of traditions that we all celebrate during Christmas. And there's a lot of words that come up during Christmas, dreams, hopes, peace. And so for today, I want to talk to you about what dreams do you have this Christmas? And in case you think that Christmas dreams are not important, I want to share with you that there were at least 4 dreams in the story of Christmas. Somebody say dreams. There were 4 dreams in the story of Christmas given to one person. And if I had a little bit more time, and I'm not going to take a long time today, if I had a little bit more time, I would go and talk to you about how difficult it would be to be Joseph. How difficult it would be to be Joseph. Joseph didn't have an angel appear to him like Mary did, right? He didn't have that. He just had Mary come up and say, hey, listen, I know we're supposed to be married, but I'm having a baby, and it's the Holy Spirit. And I don't know a guy alive that would buy that. I just don't know a guy alive that would go, oh, the Holy Spirit did that. Wow, yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, no, not one guy. I don't know one guy that would buy that. And so here's what I know about most of us men here today, and a lot of women. You need some facts. You need some direction. You need some understanding. And I love that in this moment of Joseph's life where he has to make a decision about something important in his life, God begins to give him dreams. And throughout this story of the birth of Jesus, all the way into, of the conception of Jesus, all the way to the birth and maturation of Jesus, there is a continual dream. There's this, how many of you had those reoccurring dreams? You ever had that reoccurring dream? That kind of just shows up and you're like, what the world? Right? So there's this reoccurring dream, and it continues to be the absolute perfect moment for his life. Somebody say perfect. What are you dreaming about Christmas? I don't know about you, but I love Christmas tradition. I can't wait for the food. Am I the only one who thinks about food at Christmas? Man, I can't wait for the food. Our families cook it up. I love watching, when you're young, you want to be the one opening gifts. And don't lie, even when you get a little older, you got to have one or two. Right? Because if you don't get one or two, you get a little feelings hurt. Come on, somebody. Right? But the greater joy is not in what you open. The greater joy is what you concealed for somebody else to open. Right? Because things begin to shift. But we still look forward to these moments, these traditions, these things. And so I want to stop for a minute and tell you, listen, all those things are so important. All the traditions, we watch all the little Christmas specials. We got the DVD so we don't have to wait for commercials. The Abominable Snowman, the little dentist guy, Frosty the Snowman. That's important to us. We love that stuff. But when was the last time you had a God dream about Christmas? When was the last time you felt like something in this season was so jaw-dropping to you that it captured your attention? I get it, man. How many gifts you got to buy before? Some of you, like me, are any procrastinators in here? I will be December 23rd seeing what's left on the shelf. Lord, is there, God, what? Oh, baby, look what I found. I waited. It was just what was left, right? So I know you're busy. You got all these gifts to buy, and you got to make sure this person doesn't get upset, and you got to make sure that this person got it because they got you something last year, and you got to make sure you get this year, and you got all this stuff to manage. And here's what I don't want you to lose. Don't lose the beauty, the awe, and the splendor of the Christmas story. Dream about the white Christmas, although I prefer one without snow. Dream about decorations and trees and holly and tamales and roasts and whatever it is that makes you excited. But what about your God dream? Somebody say God dream. If you know me, so for the last, 5 or 6 years, my family would say, Eli, what do you want for Christmas? And I don't want anything for Christmas. I really don't. I feel like God's been good to me. I got my 2 front teeth at least for another couple more years. I don't feel like I want anything, but I got to tell you, I have a dream that is inspired by Christmas and motivates me every day of my life. And my dream is not about what's under the tree. My dream is what happened on the tree. And what that looks like today. I don't want presents under the tree. I want souls to come to his tree. That's my Christmas dream. That's my everyday dream. That God's house will be filled with people who were lost and got healed and got found. People who were broken and got restored. People who were out of connection with God and God restored them. That's my dream. And if we can be honest today, how many of you like interviews? Anybody like TED Talks, interviews? I'm the only one. All righty then. So I bet if we interviewed Jesus right now and we said, Jesus, what's your dream? I think his dream would be that every man would come to salvation, that none would be lost. Does that make sense? I think honestly the dream of God is that you and I would have the ability to share our love, the love that we've received with so many people, that it would absolutely fill the world with love and compassion. I'm not speaking metaphorically and joy to the world. Yeah, we get that. I'm just talking about I want to live that, not just sing it. By the way, Jericho worship team, that first song was absolute fire. That was just fire, right? To God, that day of Christmas was so important, he decided to communicate with Joseph because Joseph had the charge of watching over the life of Jesus until he became a man. Does that make sense? What did God put you in charge of? How many of you know that every one of us has something we're responsible for? Every one of us has a life, a person, a relationship that we're responsible for. And sometimes, man, leading kids is tough. Come on. Sometimes leading a wife. Whew. Sometimes leading a husband. See, guys, why you guys leave me hanging up here like, yo, a bunch of, I don't want to say that to my wife right here. She said something right in front of you. God's given us somebody to lead, and let's just be honest, sometimes we don't even know where to go ourselves. How can I lead my husband? I can't lead how can I lead my wife? Pastor, how can I lead my kids? I mean, Javier Galindo was just sharing with me some of the things that he was dealing with in the life of 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds, can I say something to you? We don't have enough Josephs dreaming anymore. We don't have enough people. Listen, I get it. You came to know Jesus. Yeah, I know. And now you got your life all together. Yeah, I know. Look how wonderful you're doing. Yeah, I know. Here's my question to you. Where's your dream? Are you still dreaming? Are you still believing? Are you still striving to the God dream? Somebody say God dream. I'll give you a few things about the dreams. Let me read a couple of the dreams, if I may, that Joseph had. In Matthew chapter 2, Matthew chapter 2, verse 12. Having been warned by God in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to the other country. Later on in verse 13, now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt and remain there until I tell you, Herod is going to search for the child and destroy him. Then God calls Joseph out of Egypt in Matthew chapter 2, verse 19 and 20. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, arise, take the child and his mother, go to the land of Israel, for those who sought to the child's life are now dead. And then finally, God directed him to Galilee in Matthew 22, verses 22 through 23. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea, in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there, and being warned by God in a dream, he departed for the region of Galilee and came and resided in a city called Nazareth, that which was spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. Somebody say dreams. Now here's what I learned about dreams. To the Jewish community, the dreams were God communicating. And I don't know about you, but I don't usually have God communicating dreams. Usually my dreams are about the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl. Because that's about the only place we're going to get one, right? So I'm dreaming, man. Something like, hey, listen, it came true for you Seattle folks. 40 years without a Super Bowl and you got one. So if it worked for you, it's going to work for me. Come on. Y'all was laughing about the Cowboys. Where'd you go? Still laughing. Dreams are a form of communication beyond a shadow of a doubt, but there's a couple of them. Is it from the Lord? Sometimes we dream out of our aspirations and desires. Is there anything wrong with that dream? Not necessarily. Nothing wrong with personal dreams. Sometimes psychologist Freud said a dream is a manifestation of inner expression. This is what I'd like to be. Maybe you dream that you're flying because you wish you could fly. I don't know. I'm not sure what your dreams are, but here's what I know. Whatever mechanism God uses to communicate to you, how you respond to that dream is almost as important as the dream you had. I think I'm going to say that one more time. No matter how God communicates to you, his communication to you and your response to it are almost equally as important. Look at your neighbor and say, I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. I'm going to tell you the pain of not acting on the dream. The pain of not acting upon your dream or the Word of God. And again, I'm not trying to bore you this Christmas. I really want this to be in your heart today, and I want you to learn. What happens when you don't follow the dream is you get trapped. You get trapped. I'm going to try to speak to the young men in this room because I was, how many of you ever felt arrogant at 18? Did you ever feel cocky at 18, 20 years old? I didn't feel cocky, but apparently I sure was. Because if they say your kids are what you are, my kids at 18 years old talking about, Dad, I'm flossing. What you flossing? The floss is upstairs. You didn't bring nothing down here, would you? I'm talking about, Dad, I'm dripping. Well, go get you a towel, kids. I'm dripping. What you talking about? What you talking about? And these kids are just there. There's this, and so I say that because sometimes dreaming makes you a little arrogant. It could be a trap. Like just imagine Joseph, right? Joseph, not this Joseph, but the Joseph in Genesis 37, when his brothers go, hey, why you got that big old smile on your face? Why are you walking like? He's like, dude, you're not going to believe this, but I had this dream that we were all wheat and that your wheat bowed down to my wheat. Oh, really? Oh, really? So now you're the cream of wheat? That wasn't even written down. That just like came. So now you're the stuff. Now you got it all together, Joseph. Now you're the man, and you feel like you've got all this, right? And so sometimes the trap of having a great dream is that you come across really arrogant. And so you got to be careful when people tell you, you're so mature, you're so old, you look so good. Take advantage of the good looks, because after a while, every good-looking face get wrinkly. Come on, all of our hairlines, just leave me alone. I had to tell my barber, stop cutting the front of my hair. He's like, why? Because you're going too far back. Leave it alone. We all progress, right? That little bit of whatever swag you may got turns into, well, we're going to leave it alone right there. But it doesn't stay swag, it progresses. And so what I'm saying to you is be careful when the dream is big that your ego isn't. Because it can become a trapping of having great dreams. Be careful. Here's another trap. Somebody say trap. What happened with Joseph is his brothers began to respond to the dream. How do you respond to the dream? And I want to be really careful with this, because it's important that we don't let other people's success bother us. Don't let other people's progress bother you. If somebody's moving forward and starting a business, and I got to be honest with you, man, it's so prevalent in the culture. It's so prevalent in the culture. As soon as you start going up, everybody else wants to pull you down. Like they have the ministry of shrinking your head. I've read a lot of ministry applications and opportunities in the ministry. Shrinking head ministry was not one of them. Our responsibility is not to keep you humble, right? If you want to be arrogant, you deal with that. But what happened was Joseph's brothers responded to that arrogance, and they responded negatively. Somebody say negatively. And so they did things like throw their brother in a pit. And have you ever done something to somebody and go, you deserve that? They may deserve that, but they don't deserve it from you or me. Don't let somebody else's dream make you act out of character, take you out of sync, make you become somebody different. I'm not going to respond to that. If you feel that I'm going to bow down to you, well, we'll see. I'm going to keep working. And if that happens and the Lord lifts you up, then you better lift me up. Watch this, if we're not careful, you guys, and we don't respond to the dream well, we lose vision of the big picture. Does that make sense? How many of you would care about who helps you when you're in dire need? If you're in dire need, I don't care who helps me. I really don't. I don't care if it's my enemy. Help me. Right? And we lose focus of that. And so here's the problem with that. Are you ready? If you're not responding well to others' dreams, you become trapped in guilt. If you remember when Joseph finally sees the brothers and he says, hey, if you want to eat and survive, bring me Benjamin, your youngest brother. And then that moment comes when Joseph threatens to keep Benjamin. And all of a sudden the brothers say this, and this is powerful. Please listen to me, please hear me. He says, this is what the brother said. No, you cannot have Benjamin, even if it costs us our life. Here's what they said. Because we cannot stand to see the pain in our father's heart again like we did the time we did. You know what they're trapped in? They're trapped in guilt. Don't live your life wishing you responded right to the dream that God gave you. I wish I would have taken that thing. I wish I would have done that opportunity. I wish I would have wrote that book. I wish I would have taken that degree. I wish I would have taken that opportunity. I wish I would have. If you don't respond properly to the dream, you'll live in guilt all your life. That's a trap. And then here's the third trap. The third trap is found in the oldest brother, Reuben. Reuben was the oldest, and by virtue of his birth, gave him authority. And he should have had a little bit more experience. Amen? Try to give you a practical explanation. You know, we're farmers, Teresa and I, and Eden and Jericho and Zion. We have goats in our house and chickens and all this fun stuff. And so yesterday I looked at one of our goats, and she looked really different. But because I didn't believe she was pregnant, I didn't properly assess her situation. And about an hour later, there's 2 baby goats on the floor. And my neighbor goes, hey, you got new goats? I said, no, I didn't. They're the same goats. He goes, oh, no, you got new goats. And I went out there, and there they were on the floor. And I wasn't ready for those goats because I knew better what I knew to react. I knew to do something, but I chose not to. Reuben knew that putting his brother in the pit was the wrong move. He knew it. Reuben knew that selling his brother to slave traders was the wrong thing, but he didn't do anything about it. And Reuben knew, he knew in his heart of hearts that to lie to his father, having the trust of the eldest son, having the care of the business, the family lineage, it was his. He knew better. And yet he lied to his father anyway. And if you read Reuben's account, he interrupts that moment of tension between the brothers and he says, it was me. It was my fault, Joseph, that nobody stood up to defend you and that nobody came to protect you. And listen to me, the worst thing you can experience in life is to come to the end of your time and all you have to show is regret. Not responding to the dream right will trap us in jealousy, will trap us in guilt, and will trap us in regret. Does that make sense? Look at your neighbor and say, respond to the dream. So I'm either preaching really good or really bad because I'm not sure if you're checking your score or if you're still here with me today. Look at your neighbor and say, check your dream. So if that's what happens when you don't follow your dream, what happens when you follow it? I'm glad you asked. The benefits of following your dream. Number 1, if you follow the dream, you can protect your family. You can protect your family. What were you thinking the day after Thanksgiving? Anybody here? What was your initial thoughts the day after Thanksgiving? Anybody have an internal clock that goes, I need to put up a tree? No? Anybody have this internal clock that says, I need to hang some decorations? I need to start. As soon as the last meal on Thanksgiving happened, I'm like, hey, love, when we going to put the tree up? Hey, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to bring? Right? Everybody say nature. The little goat, the mama that had the little goats, as soon as them babies were born, she's like, hey, where you at? Where you at? Hey, where you at? I'm afraid, and I shared with you this story, that I take a fighting rooster, which is a game fowl, and I breed them with domestic hens. And I have a blended because the domestic hen is not prone to set. So she won't raise babies. And if she raises them, most of the time she'll eat them or abandon them. She doesn't have it in her DNA to watch over the babies. So I have to bring this natural blood, this older blood, this non-domestic or not modified blood, bring it into my flock so that the mamas will take care of the babies. And I got to be honest with you. Are you ready? I'm living here watching, where's our babies? And how is it that parents today are more concerned with their own well-being than the well-being of the lives that they brought in? What I want to tell you is that when you got a God dream, it protects your family. God said to Joseph, get up out of here. Get up out of here because they're coming after the baby. And I want to tell you, when you follow the dream, it's going to protect not only you, but it's going to give you sons that love God and daughters that love God and a wife that's faithful and a husband that's faithful and a family that maybe you don't have all the money in the world. Maybe you don't have all the riches in the world. Maybe you don't have a car like the neighbor has. But I'll tell you what you can have. A wife who loves you like the day is long. A husband who loves you like the day is long. And kids who want to come home to you. All my life, man, all my life, and I started having babies, I have been trying to prepare them for a moment when they leave with the aspiration that my kids want to come to daddy's house. Some of your kids, don't look at me. Don't look at me. This is you. I'm just telling you what the book says. Some of your kids don't want to come to Christmas with you. They don't want to come visit you. My mom calls me all the time, hey, why you don't come see me? You got one of them mamas? Hey, I'm still alive, right? I'm right here. Your phone works, right? It's for me, it's not that I don't want to go see my mom. I learned how to love my wife by watching my father love my mom. I learned how to take care of my family by watching God in my family, right? So I learned that. So I appreciate them. What I'm saying to you is, I want my kids to do the same thing for me, but if they're going to love me, if they're going to want to come home to me, my responsibility is to hear the word of the Lord and to follow. Just think about this for a moment. If Joseph would have not moved when the angel said move, what would have happened to Jesus? When you are more led by the emotions of your children, I'm trying not to be a parenting session today. When you are led more by the emotion of your children than by the word of God, then you're not raising them, you're letting the system raise them. Well, he didn't like it. It's okay. He can deal with that, right? Okay, I'm not going to do it in parenting. But you follow to protect. Everybody say to protect. To protect your family, follow the dream that God gave you. Here's the second thing. The second benefit of following the dream is it protects you from your accusers. It protects you from those who are accusing you. It protects you from those who want to mistreat you. Somebody say mistreat you. No, it really does. It really does. It protects you from those people who are wanting to treat you bad. And so you can see here where the Bible says that God says to Joseph in the dream when Herod is... God called Joseph back out of Egypt. He said, but when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord came here to him and said, arise for the child and his mother. With the child, arise and take the child and his mother and go to the land, for those who sought the child's life are dead. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a good guy. What I mean by that is I don't really believe that people are inherently bad. Can I put it to you in another word? In other words, I'm a bit gullible. I'm a bit naive because I really believe that people have good intentions. And I'm finding out here that there are some people who are downright planning your demise. There are people who hope you fail. There are people who hope you can't get up. There are people who hope that your life never becomes anything. And I cannot for the life of me begin to believe that there are people whose life is so bitter and whose world is so bitter that all they could do is hope that you have the same type of bitterness. But apparently, they're out there. So what do? You throw your dukes up? You defend yourself? You don't need to defend yourself against your accusers. You don't need to go on Facebook. All you haters out there, this is for you. All you people talking junk about me. Listen, all that shows about you is you haven't got a word from God. Nobody texted Herod. Nobody called Herod. Nobody warned Herod. The word of the Lord came to Joseph and said, boy, move back into town. I got all the haters. I took care of all of your accusers. And when you follow the word of God, let them hate on you. Let them plan your funeral. Let them plan your failure. God has already designed the area of your success and your multiplication. Call me if you want to. Talk about me if you want to. I put a... Yeah. See, again, everybody say accusers. I put encouraging stuff on Facebook and accusers come out. I didn't even invite them. They just show up. What do? Nothing. Pastor, why don't you defend yourself? God takes care of the accusers. God takes care of the accusers. Everybody say accusers. I want this to settle in your heart because some of you are in school right now and there are people who are trying to talk bad about you. God is not the God of the old only. He's the God of the young as well. Some of you are in a job situation and people are trying to talk bad about you, and we understand how gossip flows. Come on, somebody say gossip. Again, honestly, Bernie, I'm naive to that. I had no idea how much people really talked. I thought that was a 5th grade thing. Apparently, the 5th grade moved on to adult life. And people in this world will gossip like there's no tomorrow. I had no idea, honestly, that was a major reality like that. And so here's all I'm saying to you. Let them gossip. Let them talk. Let them say what they got to say. You keep loving God because God is going to handle your accusers. At job site, at work, at school, at home. Somebody say at home. Oh, can I talk about that for just a minute? I know I'm trying to hurry up. Listen, here's what David said. You know, if it would have been anybody else, I could have handled that. But it came from you. I love you. You did that to me? There's no worse feeling than when the accusation comes from somebody you love and lives within your own home. But even when those who are in your own home, they accuse you and they accuse you falsely, you hold your head up high and you let God handle your accusers. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. How do you love somebody who accuses you falsely? You reframe it. You reframe it. How many of you have ever accused God falsely? How many of you have ever said this was God's fault? God took my mom. God took my dad. God took my job. God took this. God, why did you do that? God, why this? God, why that? God, how come this? My friend, you are falsely accusing God. God is the giver of every good gift. And if God would not hold your false accusation against you, all you have to do is say, if God forgave me when I didn't deserve it, I'll forgive you even though you don't deserve it. It changes you, not them. It makes you better. Somebody say better. I'm going to hurry up. Here's the next benefit. The next benefit is that in Matthew chapter 2, verse 22 and 23, but when he heard that Archelaus, however you say his name, was reigning over Judea in the place of Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned by God in a dream, he departed for the region of Galilee. He departed for the region of Galilee. Can I tell you why this is so important? It's important because if you go to the wrong place at the wrong time, it could forfeit the dream in your life. You're not supposed to be where God doesn't want you to be. And so if I can put it to you this way, the benefit of obeying the dream is that the Lord directs your path. The Lord directs your path. Somebody say directs. I mean, if we follow the story, Karen, it doesn't make sense because Joseph gets in the pit for following the dream. And then he gets sold into slavery for following the dream. And then he finally makes it to Potiphar's house. Okay, maybe it starts to make sense. And then Potiphar's wife has him put in prison. Well, man, what are you talking about? So it doesn't always look right. But it's important that you follow the dream because the Bible says that the footsteps of the Lord, the footsteps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. So if you're following the dream and you get into trouble, that's okay. That's okay. God is faithful to show up in your situation and bring you out. Does that make sense? He's going to direct your path. He's going to direct your path. And then finally, the fourth benefit of following the dream is that the dream brings you home. The dream brings you home. And it came and he resided in a city called Nazareth. That what was spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. Following the dream brings you home. What do you have to hold on to when you're in the pit? It's the dream. What do you have to hold on to when you're a slave? It's the dream. What do you have to hold on to when you're falsely accused? It's the dream. It's the dream. What got Joseph to the palace with Pharaoh? What got Jesus to the cross and redemption of all humanity? What got him there was Joseph's willingness to follow the dream. It was his willingness. It was Joseph who stood on that platform with Pharaoh, and he brought healing and salvation to the world. And I don't know what your dream is anymore. I don't know what drives you anymore. I don't know what you lost. I don't know what you found. But here's what I know. You can be tore up. You can be in the middle of a prison. You can be broke right now. You can be challenged right now. You can be accused right now. And whatever you're going through, all that you need is to reconnect to the dream that God put inside of you, and your prison will become a segue to your palace. just got to remember the dream. Pastor, I'm so tore up right now. I feel emotionally empty. Dream again. Pastor, I feel like nobody in my life cares. I feel like I'm alone. Dream again. When your problems become bigger than your God, you've lost the dream. You've lost the dream. In my leadership session next week, I'm going to deal with this concept in depthly, but let me see. I feel led by the Holy Spirit to share it with you in lightly right now. Jesus made this promise. God made this promise to Moses. He said, Moses, I'll never leave you and I'll forsake. Never will I forsake you. Never leave you, nor will I forsake you. Then he says this to Joshua, his predecessor. He said, just like I'll be with Moses, Joshua, I'll never leave you or forsake you. In the English vernacular, in our understanding of the English language, those two words are very similar. What does it mean to leave? What does it mean to forsake? Well, forsake, I'm just going to leave you. I'm going to turn around. No. Can I get down for you really quick? The word leave means to be absence of your presence. I'm not here present with you. The word forsaken means to have emotionally abandoned you. Do you know you can be in somebody's presence and have forsaken them? I could come home to you every night, call you wife, and have already emotionally abandoned you. I could call you husband and already have emotionally abandoned you. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about right now. You're living with people who are in your world but not in your life. Just because you come to church doesn't mean you have a dream. And just because you had a dream doesn't mean you haven't abandoned the dream. I'm asking you today, have you forsaken the dream that propelled you? Pastor, I love God. No. That's not the question. Jesus was on the cross. And he looked to heaven. And he uttered these words. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which translated means, I know that you're omnipresent, Dad. I know that you're everywhere, but why do I feel like you've abandoned me? What did Jesus have to hold on to on that cross when he felt all alone? And that's how many of us are right now. You're in a crisis. You're in a challenge. You're in a moment this Christmas where what seems in front of you or on you seems like it's insurmountable. And I want to encourage you today, stop listening to those outside voices. Get a hold of the jingle real bells. Get a hold of the real Christmas dream. Get a hold of the real meaning of Christmas. I'll never leave you. I'll never emotionally abandon you. I won't forsake you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. It says, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm dreaming of a Christmas where the Word of God in our life is protecting us, is delivering us from our accusers, directing our path, and bringing us home. I got an encouraging word this morning, man. I just so appreciate the Holy Spirit. I got an encouraging word, encouraging dream. She had no idea what I was preaching on today. No idea. I may not be where I want to be yet, but I promise you I'm not where I was, and I'm on the right path. If you don't feel that way today, reach up and catch your dream again. Reach up and catch a dream for the first time. But don't you stay there and think that you're forsaken. The Lord is in this place. Would you stand to your heaven with me?